welcome everybody today. Okay, so today we're just going to be chatting to Adam Harper. He studied with us started in 2017.
2017?
It was, yeah. Finished. He graduated in 2020 with a music production honours degree, and then he went off to Salford University to do a master's in music production. But while he was with us, he was building his DJ and production profile and career in the background. He did club nights. I think it was a Beat Freak. He did. Lots of other. I thought I'd bring that one up. He was constantly busy doing stuff, making tunes, etc. But over the last year or two, his career's really picked up, and he's been, as you can see, he's just been announced as one of the acts for this year's Park Life. He's releasing music on Scream's I Feel label, and whilst doing this, he's also working as an audio designer for IGT, like a branding sort of audio company. Adam's just told me he makes music for fruit machines on mobile. So any of you who've got in-game betting on your phones, might be something to do with Adam, but we'll ask you about that. I'd just like to say a big welcome to Adam. Good work, Adam.
Hello.
Good to see you back, stomping around the old haunt. Can you describe your sound, your UKG sound, and what makes your music stand out from everyone, in your opinion? What's your USP?
I think I'm only really starting to find my USP probably the last 6 months, I'd say, really. But for it's more like garage breaks, like UK dance artists call it. It's like a bit of a mix mash of everything from garage, dubstep, jungle, all that sort of stuff. That's kind of really my sound. But then I think with like the UKG stuff, it's obviously been really popular. Been going into the clubs and stuff like that. Everyone's just like liking it, sort of coming back. And I think that's where I sort of just I was always enjoying it. And I put a few stupid tunes out on SoundCloud and sort of started getting attention and stuff like that. And then, really just started picking up, and everyone's like, trying to play shows and stuff like that. It's all been really natural. And then I think this probably like last years when I've really like nailed down production, what I think anyway. And then like the last 6 months have been like where I've started to grow my own sound, because as most people do, like you sort of like mess around a little bit, trying to find your niche by copying people or imitating people, should I say, and then you kind of just go on your own and try and be an artist, and
here we are.
Yeah.
So that leads me on to one of these questions actually, which I've prepared some questions, but talking about listening to other people and how they influence your sound, which other songwriters or which other producers would, if you could work with anybody, alive or dead, who would you want to make a track with?
I think probably right now, it's probably like basic answer, but like Joy Orbison's probably a big one. Yep. For like post-dubsteppy, garage stuff. And then like probably a bit more not left field, but curveball, probably like Yusuf Days, just because big jazz fan. And also it was like cool as hell to just get him on drums and like start writing some electronic music, and maybe like Mansa Brown too. He's just really fun. Yeah. And then like I've been started to work with some cool rappers actually, which I've always wanted to like more like drill stuff, because I think drill is really interesting. So there's quite a few, but it's always hard to say. Like, she's always like, "Oh, I'll do that. I don't like this." So it's like a mixed match. But like your floating points and stuff like that too are just like really like, out there, sort of doing the own thing.
And talking of, you mentioned jazz there, but have you ever considered doing anything live or bringing in a live element into your work?
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm working on right now, to be honest. Because, like I say, last 6 months I've sort of realised that I don't want to just be like sort of. Sounds really bad to say, but like a student-y DJ. It's like basically what's happening right now. It's like the UK garage scene is like, you've got a load of like students getting into garage, which is amazing. But there's like a definitely like cut off. Like you have like the people just started making it, and then people trying to like sort of push it forward. And I really want to try and get into that stage where it's like I'm an actual. Like, I feel like I'm a proper artist, and I can write for other people and perform all of it live. That's sort of the dream. So it sounds a bit like to say like, oh, I'm a proper artist, but instead of like making like bootlegs and free downloads, which I was doing, like really moving into that realm of like, having synths on stage, like control everything with Ableton. I think that's like the ultimate goal, really, because I think my favourite artists do it like Bicep and stuff like that. Do like, whoa, that's well cool. Like you see like press a button, like, oh, what's that? Instead of pressing play, like, oh, I want to do that.
Okay, cool. And what do you think about the current UKG scene, and what do you think the challenges are? You mentioned about student, you mentioned about the crossover.
It's like super healthy right now, and like I was saying before, like UK garage is sort of like there's like a centre of UK dance, like UK garage, bassline, funker, dubstep, jungle, like hardcore and stuff like that. It's all like coming together. It's like everyone just calls it UK dance at this point because you get a UK garage artist playing, not a UK garage set, and everyone's like, oh, it's great. And I think the problem that's happening is right now is people like finding out like TikTok and stuff like that, which is an amazing platform, but it's like they're trying to cater to the audience rather than be an artist. So it's like you get like people like making tunes for the audience rather than making tunes for what they want to show to people. So it's like you like a lot of fan service stuff, which is great. It's really fun to have like bootleg stuff. It's not all about being serious and shit like that because that's shit. But what's really cool is I think when people start finding their own sound and start branching out from the sort of bootleg stuff, and it's really good. It's like I say, it's really healthy. But I think if you keep them going like that, it'll sort of bastardize what dance music is all about. Like going to find new music in the clubs rather than just being like, oh, that's I don't know, like some noughties pop song. Let's put like Speed Garage over it. It's like, come on.
You just speed it up, don't you? Just making manipulated tracks. Have you ever thought about manipulating and putting your tracks up slightly sped up?
Yeah, I've done it loads. I just feel fun of it.
Okay, so everyone's asked at the moment.
Like, I do when I'm pissed, especially when I'm on decks. Like I get really, really drunk, which shouldn't do with a DJ. But I get really, really drunk and I like put the tempo thing off, take the master tempo thing off, so it's not pitch. You just turn it up. It's like dead high pitch, and I'll start laughing on stage. And my mate's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like,
because there's a market for it at the moment, aren't there? Because people are uploading it to Spotify.
Oh yeah, like
and taking just basically the royalties are going to somebody else, but they're just speeding up other people's tracks. So I just wonder whether you.
I think it's just like TikTok ADHD.
Yeah,
to be honest, I'm definitely a culprit for. Like, I'm like, well, definitely TikTok.
Definitely. Well, following on from the TikTok social media, we had a quick chat before we started here, and I was asking you how you managed it, because everybody's obviously on social media, and as an artist, how do you manage your social media feeds? Are you at the stage where you've got some help?
No. Basically, I've got a manager, right? And with management, I don't know if anyone's got a manager, but basically what it's like is they will tell you to do something. If I don't like it, I'm like, no, because I just don't like the idea of like forcing content out. Because I'm a bit like in the old mindset. I like music when it's like you've spent time on it, you put it out. You don't have to put loads of music out, but you put good music out. Whereas now, like because of TikTok and all that stuff, it's like fast, free downloads, new track every week, which is a good business model, but then it gets to a point where it's unsustainable. And I think with the current like sort of social media thing, I've taken a bit of a back step, so I try not to post too much. I post a lot of my stories because that's all right, but like trying to upload constantly like content, it's not art anymore, it's content. And I don't really like that. But my manager coming to like the whole thing, he's always like, "Oh, post this," but I'm like, "No," it's just because he's like 40 odd, right? He's like this like Glaswegian bloke, bless him, and he's very clever. He used to do all the marketing at Fabric and stuff like that, and all the bookings for like 20 years. So he's proper clever. But I'm just like, mate, I hate this like sort of age of social media. If I want to do something, I want to do it quite cool, or like what I think is cool anyway. But you still have to post, and so I'm not the best person to talk about social media with. I think like the people on TikTok who are really popping, like they're the people to talk to. But for me personally, I think I'm just not a fan of it really. But
okay, so it's something that you would want some help with if you could get some.
I think it would be a sort of help thing, but I think it's like a necessary evil, isn't it? Like you have to post on your TikToks and all that sort of stuff. But I feel like the people who do it really well is the people who like put a bit of time and effort into it. Like it's like an actual art form rather than just like throw it up. You sound.
So for the people here, how many times do you post a day? And but to just give them a bit of advice. How did you? So from when you sort of left here and went on to Salford, etc., and you were SoundCloud was obviously your primary place, but then you did clubs. But how often have you stepped up the amount of times you post, or has it been?
I've actually dropped it down, to be honest.
Okay.
Because what I've noticed is like. I use Instagram mainly. I use TikTok as well, but I think Instagram is just for me is like my favourite platform really.
Yep.
And I've noticed like posting stories and whatnot, like tagging things or sharing posts, it just absolutely tanks like your reach. Where you just post like like I just got my phone out, took a photo of like this right now, and just put like text over it.
Yeah.
Do like 2,000, 3,000 people viewing it. I'm like, what? But then you put like something serious. I'm like, oh, I've spent loads of time putting music up. Thanks to all these artists and engineers and stuff. And it's just like one like person views it. So stuff like that. That's what I've noticed, which is really weird.
Okay.
But then, like I say, because of the way the algorithm is, if you do that, it's fine. But if you post on your thing, it can be completely different. So you could have 10,000 followers, but your post get like 200 likes or like it's ridiculous. So there's no like real science to it. It's like either post all the time or figure out your niche. And it's kind of hard to say because your niche could be like, if you're in a metal band, it's a way different thing to then someone who's like a classical singer. It's weird. I don't like it, but again, necessary evil social media.
There you go. Good advice. So going back, winding back the clock a bit. So when you were studying, what advice or what did you take from your studies doing music production here and then at Salford? What elements did you take into your professional world?
Just spend as much time as you can in your bedroom and not as much time getting hungover. Like, 'cause I remember, like, basically what I used to do is, like, when it was, like, days where it's, like, you got, like, a lecture in the morning, you got nothing to do, it's, like, either go to the pub with your mates or it's, like, go home. And I couldn't afford going to the pub all the time unless it was courtyard. And most of the time it was pissing down. So I was like, I'm not going courtyard. So I was like, I want to go home and try and get some music. And I used to, like, be a sound design geek. I kind of hate sound design now a little bit because it's a full-time job now. But I just, like, literally spent loads of time, like, just making music. And then I wouldn't say putting it out, just like making as much music as you can and being like to a point where you've got a bunch of music, like, oh, I'm going to put it out now. And that's all I really did throughout my masters and this, really. I was just making music and it wasn't going anywhere. I was like, let's just put it out. And then it was just kind of like figuring out where it should go out and just seeing like what's going on and stuff like that. So when I was here, I was doing like dubstep, like the more American sort of stuff. So it was a bit of a harder scene to push because obviously it's a different country. But like, I just researched. So I was like making tunes and research and then just being a pest, like just emailing a member. It was a lesson we did. I can't remember what it was, but it was like the social media thing. It was like I basically just harass people, and I still do that to this day, like just proper pestering people for like opportunities and stuff like that. So I think that's it really. Just spend as much time as you can whilst you're free at uni, because unless you're like working 2 or 3 jobs, like I had one job. I was working at Screwfix, and then I was doing here, and I was working at Screwfix like 2 or 3 times a week, and it was like 12 to 16 hours. So it's not like a massive shift. And then I was doing here like a couple of days a week, and then every single time I had free, either spend a bit of time with friends and make a bunch of music. So basically don't have a social life for a few years, but yeah, that's
very good. Well, you mentioned there about moving on, doing some sort of sound design, audio design with PHMG and RGT. Tell us a bit about that. How did you get into doing that? Because obviously that type of job is like a perfect companion to you building your DJ career now.
Honestly, it was all through LinkedIn, and I hate LinkedIn. But it's really, really good because it's like super, super pretentious. But it's a really good platform to sort of develop professionally. Because like this is like the artsy-fartsy stuff I call it. And then you have like the sort of professional stuff. I mean, it's all still professional, but you know what I mean? And all I did was from a master's degree, I had a course on basically using LinkedIn and I hated it. I mean, I absolutely hated this course.
I can take it you don't like social media.
No, I hate it. The reason I hate it is just because of like, it's just the stress in it. It's like, I just want to make music, but whatever. And what it allowed me to do is like, I think she was called Helen. And she basically was like, you have to post on LinkedIn like every week. And you have to do like a full, it was dead cringe, but it actually did really good like wonders for me. So I ended up becoming like this person, like just posting on LinkedIn. Like, so say it was like, I did something like, I don't know, I put a silly bootleg up on like SoundCloud or something. I post on LinkedIn. It might, obviously LinkedIn's not like catered for that sort of stuff, but it means you're doing stuff. And then I got loads of eyes on it. But at the same time, I got the job at PHMG, which is like I think it's called an audio branding company.
Yeah, they do.
And that was just like really luck of the draw. So my sister's a barber and she was cutting this guy's hair and he's like, oh, my brother does this. Do you want to check his LinkedIn out? And he was like, oh yeah. So I got an interview, got the job. But whilst I was still there, I was still posting on LinkedIn. And Josh, who went here a few years prior.
Yeah, also graduate of music production.
He works at the company that I work at now at IGT. And I thought it was a scam at first. He was like, do you want to come and be a sound designer? I've seen all your like show reels and stuff like that. I was like, I thought it was a scam because he didn't have like a profile picture. So I'm going to get scammed here. Like I thought, nah, bollocks this. But it turned out it was real. And then I got another interview and stuff like that. And it just basically was like, we want you for a job. But I think what really helped was master's degree because I did a master's in science in audio production, which is like focused on coding, mixing, mastering, spatial audio. And I did my major on spatial audio and audio coding. And I couldn't tell you anything about it now. It was just like a complete blag. But it did wonders for me, and that sort of thing like sort of married all like the sort of stuff I was doing with Ghoulish, because like I say, I was doing lots of sound design and production. It sort of married together, and it was like just
great.
Honestly, super lucky. So it's kind of like one of them.
Well, let's just hope that carries on, eh? So another question then, because I'm going to open it out to questions in a bit from you lot. So get your thinking caps on. You're working with Scream quite a lot now, DJing, a bit of production work. Is there anything that you've learned from him that you can share? In the studio wise,
so
or
we've actually not been in the studio
performing
together.
wise?
Well, we're not performing together yet. That's Saturday, which I'm not supposed to say, but
Yeah.
it's coming on Saturday, so it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
In the studio wise, he's got a very different workflow to me. So what I do, I like focus on like mixing and build up a track. So I like focus on the mix, whereas he focuses on the creative element. So I'm like more of like, I need to get the mix right before I can actually finish the track because it stressed me out too much. Whereas he'll just sit there, blast through about 15, 20 tracks, and then he'll send someone else to mix and master, but also at the same time, he is like full time doing it. So he like doesn't have the time to mix and master and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just one of them really where, yeah, but he's been teaching me a lot about the creative process, which I didn't ever think of. He's like, just get it down and stuff like this. He's been showing me like different techniques because I don't know if anyone's like too familiar with Scream and stuff like that. He was like one of the people who created dubstep, and his whole thing was like, yeah, I'll show you like these really cool techniques that you wouldn't have now, like, the early 2000s and late 90s. So he's been showing me stuff like that. So it's nothing really specific. It's just like workflow stuff and yeah,
great.
Sort of how to deal with it all because he's like, oh, you're going to get busier and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, don't tell me that.
It's coming. Another question about workflow and actually producing. Have you ever suffered from writer's block, or have you ever kind of what challenges have you faced trying to produce music? And this goes, this is relevant to everybody. Is that how do you is there any things you do like exercise or anything like that it clears your head and you can go back and start working on?
I mean, I used to hammer production. I used to sit there for like hours and hours and I'm like, I need to finish a track. And I never really finished tracks because one, I wasn't really enjoying the music I was making, which was like say the American sort of dubstep. And two, I was just sitting there for ages. What I found now is like, because I work full time and like gets a bit busier and stuff, I was sitting like bursts of writing, and then like you say working out's really good, so go climbing, go gym and stuff like that, and come back and it's like, oh, I might write music tonight, but I don't feel obligated to. And I think that's way better at writing music than it is. And I think also, I think because of social media, like I was saying before, there's like a sort of pressure to write so much music, but you don't have to. If you write a load of good music, but you've got like 6 or 7 great tracks over the space of like a 2 or 3 month period, that's way better than making a track every 2 days. That's like lackluster. And I've noticed that when I was writing tracks quicker, they were good, and it was like, oh my God, can I have another dub play? It's like, yeah, great, but I found out that like spend a bit more time on the music and like caring about it, then sending it off. People are like, whoa, that makes a bit more of like a profound difference rather than just
good advice. Good advice. Okay, my last question before we go out into the audience is, if we could work a crystal ball, and what would you like to be seeing yourself doing in 5 years?
Honestly, I'd like I said, like doing like live stuff, like so instead of like just DJing, like having like a whole live show. Working and producing for other people, which I've started to luckily do, so I'm hoping to like continue that, get into like writing camps, and I'm just working with like not just electronic music people. Like I say, I love like drill and stuff because it's just a really interesting style of music. Working with like jazz bands, and hopefully, like I say, doing it all full time and just being able to write for people because people hopefully like my stuff. That's the main goal, but yeah, we'll see.
Fair enough. And one last thing, what's one piece of advice you would give this lot here?
Don't overthink anything. It's like kind of a common one, but I used to like sit like, I have to make this style of music, but ended up making garage because I ended up sitting there for hours and be like always coming around to it. So just kind of lean into what you're feeling at the time, and that way your creative juices just go.
Great. Okay, so have we got any questions? Yep.
Right. Okay. It was the DJ thing as a producer. It was always in you, or always something that you found out that was good to promote your music as well.
I was DJing and producing at the same time, really. So what happened is like I kind of discovered dance music through DJing, but I was also like I really want to produce. So I started producing, I think 2015, 2016. But I also started DJing at the same time. It's like sort of like synonymous, and I never really separated it. But I do think. When you DJ, it's a really good way to produce, like promote your own tunes and stuff like that. And that's what I found helps. It's like a hand-in-hand thing. Like if you produce, I feel like you become a better DJ, and if you DJ, you become a better producer. If that makes sense. So it's all synonymous with each other, and I found it just strengthens everything that you do.
Cool. Another question as well is just related to in the position that you are right now in the industry, of course, with probably managers, promotion and stuff like that. Do you feel the pressure of having to release music like in certain points that you're not probably very inspired and you have to do it based on dates and agreements? I don't know.
No and yes. So I've done like a couple of tracks where everyone will have this. Like, you get a track and you just don't feel too happy with it, but it's sort of like, oh, at the time it's like, I'm finished, but then you've made like a bunch of other tunes. You're like, oh, well, that was a bit but it's coming out now. But I'd never feel the pressure for it. Like, so when you get like a good team around you, so I've got a manager, an agent, and a publisher, they'll never push you to release what you don't like. And if I don't like something, I'm just like, I don't like it. I don't want to push this. And I think that's like a really, really good thing when you've got like a good supportive team around you. Like I say, I'm only like part-time, like doing the DJ production stuff. So when I'm saying to people, I really don't want to do this, they're pretty respectful of it. And most of the time, most places are really respectful of it. But if you find yourself in like a bit of a toxic environment where people are giving you pressure to release, I'll just say cut ties, because it's never going to be good for you. You're going to end up like burnt out or just pushing stuff that you really don't want to be pushing out to what, well, you sound really.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Fair enough. Anybody else? I've got a question. How do you stay on top of your scene? You know, musically. I mean, do you get sent promos, obviously on email? Do you get vinyl? Do you get TPs these days, or does anybody deal with them in UKG? Or
yeah, I mean,
dub plates and stuff.
Garage scene is huge for mixing vinyl and stuff, and I mean, you don't get too many test pressings that much unless it's your own, because it's just so expensive to press vinyl, or if you're doing like lathe cuts and stuff, it's still really expensive. I get a load of promo stuff, so like, I don't know if anyone's like DJing and stuff like that, but you have like your Fat Drop, In-Flight, they're like your two main promo services from like distro in to DJs. I get loads of them, and then obviously I have like an email where people just send me music anyway, and vice versa. And it's a way that you can keep on top of like what's good, but also like I'm massive on Bandcamp. I used to think like when I was like 18, oh, Bandcamp's rubbish. Bandcamp's the greatest thing to happen like to music, in my opinion. I spent like, I was there like a couple of days ago, I had a few beers, I was like, I need to get some new tunes. And I spent like £100 on Bandcamp. I woke up the next day, I was like, what have I done? But it's a really good like thing, because like what Bandcamp does, it like prioritizes like what it thinks you'll like, whereas like, obviously everything else is kind of like ingested through what you're following and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Bandcamp's good. It's good for artists to sell direct, isn't it? Okay. Excuse me. And performing wise, as a DJ, what would you say was one of the hardest gigs you've ever done? And why?
Oh God.
Apart from the ones you did when you hadn't had any sleep, or
yeah, oh, well, I just get used to that. But like, I'm in like this weird situation right now where it's like I'm not like technically like the garage. What garage is now is like way different to what people think garage probably is. So it's like Sammy Virgin and stuff like that. And I'm like tied in with all of them, because I work with them closely and stuff. We're all mates as well. I play a lot of their shows. So like sometimes you play a show and it's like you build them like some massive artists who are like really, really popular. But like for me, I like, you know, I've got to play after Sammy Virgil, or I've got to play after. I like, no matter how hard you try, the crowd is not on your side. Like, you can play the best set ever, but because they're there for that one artist, it's like, bloody hell. I remember I was in, I think it was Coventry, that was pulling teeth. It was like 1,000 people there. I was like, this is great, this. And I got on stage, I couldn't do anything right. And then, like, I did a blend, and like the crowd went, wow, I was like, oh, that was really good, that. Turns out Sammy Virgil was just like stood behind me, and I was like, oh. I was like, do you know what? Just gotta go home.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah.
you know, surely you must have a guaranteed floor filler. Do you not have one of those tunes, a cheesy tune that you think, oh, I'm gonna have to hit the nuclear button here?
It's just a bit cringe. It's Baseline Junker, Joe the Dizzy Rascal one. I remember I was at Warehouse Project at New Year's Eve, and it's like Warehouse Project New Year's Eve. It's a festival crowd basically, so you're going to get people not there for like the music, just there to get pissed and have a great time, which is fair enough, right? So you actually play some cool tunes, but you also have to play like sort of like, I call them bait tunes, where it's like, you know it's going to get a reaction, but you don't feel good about it. You're like, and Baseline Junkie's like, if I feel the set's going a bit flat, just whack that on. And it goes back up again. You see like
there you
sound.
go. It's the miracle cure.
Yeah.
Very good. Talking about Baseline Junkie, so what's your favourite ever dance tune, and why? And how has it influenced your own production work?
There's a few, but I'm like big on like the post dubstep stuff, so like, you know, like James Blake's and all them sort of things. But I think it's in like the upper echelons of my favourite dance track, because there's loads, but it's Joy Orbison's Hive Mungo. Because that was his first single in like 2009, 2010, and it's like well ahead of its time. It's such a banger. Like, whoa, that to me is like really what I want to achieve. Like, if you have that sort of like a seminal tune, that's like, it's just a great tune. So I think that's probably up there.
Very good. Very good, very good. Okay, any other? There's a question about there from Craig.
Just wondered, have you had any opportunities to meet any of your inspirations on and how that's actually gone for you?
Yeah, like I said, the big one, Scream. Like, obviously I was doing dubstep here, and I was saying he was like dubstep originator, and it's just mad now. Like, he just rings me like like when he's pissed or something, or like rather like I'm like, what? This is well bizarre. And it's just like other people that I look up to, like Sammy Verge too, like mates of him. I go on a lot of like we do like one of the same agency, so when you're on agencies, like you also get bundled together, but we do very similar sounds and stuff like that. And again, known him for years, like listen to his music, and it's like, do you go for a Guinness later? Like before the show, I'm like, I go on, lad. And it's just really weird stuff like that, but it's also kind of natural too, because it sounds really weird once you meet someone that you look up to. It kind of humanises them a bit because you realise they're just like proper normal people. So it's quite nice, but it's also a bit like, it's a bit bizarre when you sit there sometimes like, I know this person like on a personal level. It's fun, weird.
Very good. And before we wrap up, do you want to tell us a bit about your residency at Yes?
Yeah. So this Saturday,
I know you can't give them too much away.
No, I'll give it all away because
it'll be done.
Basically, right, I'm not allowed to announce it, but we need to announce. We need to sell tickets. But I'm at Yes, you know the venue down there in the Pink Room, and it's the Boiler Room in Liverpool with Scream and Benga and stuff like that. And I've somehow got Scream in Manchester, like a 300-cap venue, which he never does. It's like, well hard to get someone like that. He's like, yeah, come down, but everyone's like, you can't announce him. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to do this. And so basically what we're doing is like I leaked it all and stuff like that just to get the word out. And I think he texted me a couple of weeks ago saying, oh, I'm going to bring Benga too. And I'm like, what? So you can't just bring Benga now. He's like, yeah, you can. I was like, oh, all right. But they'll do like Coachella and stuff like that, so you know. So I've done that somehow. So if anyone wants to come down, leave your emails. I'm going to send some discounts out. I was trying to get it sorted before, but Skiddles are sometimes a bit long with getting discount codes. So, yeah.
We'll have some... if anybody does want to go, leave your email. In fact, I've got most of your emails, I think, on here. So just let me know, and we'll pass them on to Adam.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any more questions before we wrap up? So when we finish, we're going to have a quick 15-minute break while Adam sets up for the masterclass so you can go through.
I've got a quick one.
Oh, go for it.
I'm just interested to know how much of the process you go through yourself, if you ever had to hand any of it over. The mastering stage, do you let somebody else do that for you?
No.
Or do you want complete control?
So I only get mastering done when it goes into vinyl or like a lathe cut because obviously it's a bit different when you're cutting grooves and stuff. But everything I do myself because it's like kind of part of my sound. My mastering is bastardized, by the way. It's like not how you're supposed to do mastering, but just turn it up in it. But like honestly, it's kind of part and parcel. So I mix everything myself and I master everything. And when I do like deliverables, it is literally just like minus 6 dB and you send it to like the mastering house and then they're like, oh, sound. But for the most part, yeah, it's mostly me doing it all because, yeah, I just like doing it. I'm like I want to do it myself. Like, I'm not paying anyone. I'm a bit of a stickler.
Right, okay. So if there's no more questions, should we have a quick break? And thanks very much to Adam for coming along and sharing his experiences. Nice one. Nice one, Adam. Thank you.